Hello everyone. Welcome to the Lightning Ball channel. If you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, please do so and activate the notification bell. Your support fuels my continued efforts. In our previous episode, Insect Queen Peliod demonstrated a despair-inducing strength, maintaining an absolute advantage even when facing 6 formidable opponents: Abra, Midray, Geld, Frey, Carrion, Gobta, and Ranga. Carrera, unable to fight due to her injuries, fell into deep self-doubt and despair over her helplessness. At this critical moment, the deceased Tatsuya Kondo appeared on the battlefield in an unexpected manner, granting Carrera a judgment bullet. Seizing the opportunity when Peliod was about to unleash a fatal attack on the others, Carrera and Kondo shot and killed Peliod, securing victory. In this episode, we will see Zelanus's reaction to Peliod's death. The battle is far from over as Velzard's sudden appearance brings a significant shift to the battlefield. Felway and others will also plan their next moves. So, let's get started. As Carrera eliminated Peliod, Zelanus immediately sensed the Insect Queen's death. Being cautious, Zelanus decided to retreat right away. Peliod's death was entirely outside of his plans. Although Peliod's power returned to Zelanus upon her death, and he had now absorbed all the power of the entire insect race, he needed to expend more energy to maintain the barrier. Facing the unfathomably powerful Milim, Zelanus lacked confidence in victory. His original plan was to enhance Peliod to eliminate the others on the battlefield, then further strengthen Peliod through restored life skill. Even if Peliod couldn't reach Zelanus's level, she would still be a formidable presence, and together, they would confront Milim and achieve ultimate victory. Given the significant deviation from this plan, Zelanus decided not to be fixated on the current battle. Milim quickly saw through Zelanus's intentions, mocking him for thinking he could escape so easily. Zelanus ignored Milim's taunts. Milim, not being foolish, knew that if Zelanus wanted to escape, she couldn't stop him. Though Milim had indeed hidden her full strength, using her Lord of Wrath power might cause her to go berserk. Even if she defeated Zelanus, handling the aftermath would be problematic. Additionally, her companions were exhausted from the battle, and it was best to end the fight quickly to treat the wounded. Thus, Milim let Zelanus go, and the battle ended in victory. Everyone felt a mix of emotions, knowing that while the battlefield was heavily damaged, it wasn't beyond repair. Since the souls of the deceased had been collected, their fallen comrades could be revived later. Overall, it was a brutal yet triumphant battle. Carrera declared that she would become even stronger. Midray began conversing with Carrera, both expressing great admiration for each other's extraordinary strength. Midray stated that if Carrera's goal was to become stronger, then he couldn't afford to lag behind. They laughed and agreed to train together in the future to improve their skills. At that moment, Milim joined in, expressing her desire to participate in the training as well. Seeing Milim's cheerful expression, Carrera and Midray both showed troubled faces. Gobta and Ranga, having previously endured Milim's rigorous training, felt a sense of foreboding rising from their hearts. To avoid being dragged into the training, Gobta quickly stated that he needed to return to the Monster Federation to report on the battle, and together with Ranga, they made their escape. As expected, those who didn't manage to run away, such as Carrion and Frey, were forcibly included in Milim's special training. Thus, everyone was immersed in the joy of their victory. However, just then, a massive snowstorm suddenly enveloped the ground, freezing everything and plunging the world into a deep sleep as if to catch everyone in their moment of relaxation. The entire world was instantly turned white. To prevent anyone from escaping, the snowstorm rose from a distance and gradually surrounded everything nearby. Milim was the first to sense the anomaly, but due to her earlier complacency, she was caught off guard for a brief moment. There were few in this world who could deceive Milim, the cunning and powerful demon lord, but the ancient true dragon, Frost Dragon Velzard, was one of them. Shocked, Milim couldn't understand Velzard's intentions. Velzard smiled and said she had come to see her niece and had something to ask for Milim's help. Suppressing her inner rage, Milim remarked that Velzard was underestimating her. Velzard's attitude didn't seem like she was asking for help. Milim was not someone who could be coerced. If Velzard wanted to negotiate, she needed to make the snowstorm disappear first. While containing her anger, Milim released her aura, knowing that if she allowed Velzard to continue, her companions would be in danger. The warriors on the battlefield's periphery had already been turned into ice statues. Although they weren't dead, their life activities had ceased, putting them in a state of suspended animation. Velzard could kill them at any moment if she wished. Frey, standing in the center of the battlefield, sensed an even greater crisis than Milim. If Milim were provoked into entering a berserk state, the land would suffer irreversible damage, and the survival of Milim's entire army and civilians would be uncertain. Frey realized she needed to make a decision on behalf of her master, Milim. Allowing Velzard to continue her actions would only escalate the danger. Thus, without Milim's consent, Frey issued a command to her Heaven Flyers to attack Velzard. As soon as Frey's words fell, the Heaven Flyers leapt into action. Even though they knew they couldn't defeat Velzard, they charged with a resolve to die. Their master, Milim, was too kind, enduring this situation for the sake of Frey and the others' safety. However, this kindness was fatal. As more people turned into ice statues, Milim's patience would reach its limit. If the situation worsened, Milim might even comply with Velzard out of fear of further casualties. Frey understood that as long as Milim didn't worry about their safety and fought with her full power, no opponent could challenge her. But Milim had never fought seriously, meaning they, as her subordinates, had become a shackle binding her. Frey realized that their existence was a burden due to their master's kindness, and this was unacceptable. At that moment, Carrion also spoke up, admitting he was slower to react than Frey. He ordered his winged beast knights that anyone wishing to flee could do so now, but those who remained must be prepared to sacrifice themselves and attack Velzard with all their might. Unsurprisingly, none of the winged beast knights chose to flee. Midray also declared his stance, stating that even though their opponent was the end of their god, Milim-sama, he and the warrior monk priests, led by Hermes, would fight without complaint. Everyone shifted into battle mode. Thus, all of Milim's subordinates charged at Velzard. Seeing her subordinates risking their lives, Milim shouted for them to stop and flee. However, as if to drown out Milim's voice, countless magic bullets flew towards Velzard from all directions. Witnessing this scene, Abra was deeply moved, recognizing Milim-sama as a beloved and great master, for whom her subordinates were willing to sacrifice their lives. Abra regretted not serving such a master sooner. Despite being exhausted from her battle with Insect Queen Peliod, she stood up again, glaring furiously at Velzard. Abra understood that the chances of winning were zero with only Frey, Carrion, Midray, and their subordinates. Frey and the others couldn't have been unaware of this. If they wanted to survive, they wouldn't have ordered an attack. Therefore, there was only one reason for this decision: to make Milim abandon her hesitation. If everyone was killed, Milim would no longer have any restraints and would naturally unleash her full power. As long as their master, Milim, could survive, there was no room for hesitation. Abra admired Frey's decisive action at this critical moment, and was moved by Milim-sama's place in everyone's hearts, a place higher than their own lives. Abra suddenly understood the resolve of her subordinates, who had sacrificed themselves in her battle with Michael. She felt deep respect for them and resolved to sacrifice herself here if necessary. Meanwhile, Primordial Yellow Carrera was also contemplating her course of action. Velzard, unlike Velgrind, was not merciful and would show no leniency to her, nor would she engage in a prolonged battle. Moreover, Carrera wasn't even sure if she could escape from here. Naturally, fleeing wasn't an option Carrera considered. Though dying on the battlefield would go against Rimura-sama's orders, she knew she had to join Frey and the others in attacking. However, Carrera also realized that with Velzard as her opponent, her only outcome was likely to be a struggle until death. Carrera quickly made her decision, which unfortunately was bad news for her subordinates. Under Carrera's command, no one could defy her orders. Knowing they couldn't defeat Velzard, Carrera ordered her yellow demons to collect the souls of the fallen from the land, ensuring none truly died. Her subordinates unanimously accepted the command. To more efficiently collect the souls, they shed their physical forms and returned to pure spiritual entities. Thus, within a short time, everyone was prepared. However, in the next instant, Velzard's calm and piercing voice echoed in everyone's minds, mocking their foolishness. This voice, which should have been drowned out by the blizzard, unexpectedly carried immense waves of thoughts. Perhaps in response to this voice, the blizzard intensified, turning the battlefield into a sea of white. It was an unreasonable display of power, its scale surpassing any natural disaster. All resistance seemed insignificant before this force. Velzard's gentle voice urging them to sleep echoed in everyone's minds. The pure white snow ravaged the land, first turning the soldiers, then the captains, and then the officers into ice statues. Only a few super-awakened beings continued to struggle, but even their transformation into ice statues was only a matter of time. The reason Frey, Carrion, and Midray were still alive was that Milim was protecting them. Proof of this was that Carrera, slightly farther away from Milim, hadn't even had time to shed her physical body before being immobilized. If the Devil Lord level primordial yellow Carrera was affected like this, there was no need to mention the fate of the other subordinates. In an instant, Milim's entire army was turned into ice statues, completely annihilated. It's important to note that this blizzard was merely the result of Velzard releasing her aura. She hadn't even launched an attack, yet the casualties were so severe. Understanding this, everyone fell into despair. Milim, who was protecting Frey and the others, couldn't move freely either. Any slight shift would result in the people behind her being instantly frozen. Frey felt a deep admiration for Milim-sama's innocence and kindness, truly loving such a master. She turned her head to see Carrion smiling happily, Midrain nodding at everyone. Abra was silently muttering apologies, seemingly to someone she felt she owed. These people had all made up their minds, unanimously choosing to sacrifice themselves. Frey smiled, noting everyone's unity, while Carrion seemed excited and proud. Midray commented that everyone would eventually die and that they would show Milim-sama their bravery. Abra remarked that she finally understood her former subordinate's feelings, acknowledging that it wasn't a meaningless sacrifice, and she should leave with pride too. In that moment, the hearts of the Big Four connected. Realizing something was amiss with her high-ranking officers, Milim shouted, but the four had already begun their actions. Without fear, they attacked Velzard with seamless coordination, as if they had been comrades for millennia. However, against Velzard, all of this was futile. Velzard sneered as the four strong warriors, just as she had anticipated, launched their attack, ensuring everything proceeded according to her plan. In an instant, four newly formed ice statues stood before Velzard. Milim's expression froze, and as she realized her companions had been taken from her, her mind was consumed by one overwhelming emotion, anger. Milim could not forgive Velzard's cruelty. Her friends had been taken from her, and she would not let Velzard go unpunished. Milim's roar echoed across the battlefield. At the same time, her ultimate skill, Lord of Wrath, activated at full capacity, absorbing the surrounding magicules. Fueled by her anger and the magicules present in the world, it continually generated greater power. This was the true essence of the Lord of Wrath, the magicule breeder reactor. It was a power that only increased, never depleting, no matter how much was used. With this ultimate skill, Dragon Princess Milim, daughter of Star King Dragon Velzard, could wield limitless power. Milim roared again, causing the ground to quake and the sky to shatter. Even the armor covering Milim was forced to fuse with her and transform into more ominous gear to avoid being destroyed by the immense power. Milim's entire body was covered in dragon scales, mysterious patterns appeared on her skin except for her face, and the horn on her forehead gleamed with a rainbow-like light. This was Milim's true form, a human-like appearance that possessed power surpassing the true dragons, the ultimate destructive force of the Dragon Princess. Velzard's expression remained unchanged, as if everything was proceeding exactly as she had planned. She calmly remarked that this was the second time she had seen Milim in this form. Seizing this rare opportunity, Velzard intended to play with her niece, Milim, for a while. Milim, now fully controlled by her rage, had no words left, only a desire for carnage. And with no one left to stop her, the unchained dragon princess once again unleashed her boundless fury upon the world. The perspective shifts to the Star Palace. Feldway and his group were utilizing Mai Furuki's special abilities to observe the various battles unfolding across the world. Feldway murmured to himself, contemplating Velzard's actions. Nearby, Vega's face was ashen as he watched the situation unfold. Despite his arrogance, seeing the sheer power displayed by Milim and Zelanus made Vega acutely aware of the vast gap between himself and the world's top-tier fighters. Even more terrifying was Velzard's calm and composed demeanor, maintaining her poise even in such circumstances. Vega could feel the suffocating despair emanating from her, even through the screen. Next to them, Zelario, who had been summoned back, was also experiencing complex emotions. The insect army, his adversary for centuries, had been defeated by Milim's forces, and without any fatalities. This indicated that Milim's army was significantly stronger than Zelario's forces. It was understandable that Zelario felt uncomfortable about this. Simultaneously, Zelario asked Feldway about the next step of the plan. It was important to note that Velzard, as an advisor, had the authority to act with complete autonomy. Zelario believed that Velzard's actions lacked clarity and had deviated significantly from the initial plan. Though he wasn't sure of Velzard's ultimate goal, he saw this as an opportunity to quickly rectify the plan. His words were filled with dissatisfaction, as Zelario, with his warrior's spirit, hoped each step of the plan would have clear meaning and purpose. At that moment, Jahil also voiced his complaints, stating that if it hadn't been for Feldway's interference, he would have already killed his archenemy, Luminous. Jahil questioned Feldway's true intentions. Regarding Jahil, he was tasked with launching a feigned attack on Luminous' camp during Michael's battle with Rimuru. However, Jahil's attack was excessively flashy, leading Feldway to order Zelario to summon him back to the Star Palace. Jahil was furious about this command. After all, Luminous was the enemy who had killed his creator, Twilight Valentine. Jahil couldn't let go of his rage if he couldn't personally kill Luminous. Feldway released his formidable aura as he looked at the incessantly complaining Jahil. Though he spoke in a normal tone, the pressure from his aura was enough to make even those not involved in the conversation, like Dino, tense up. This oppressive aura immediately made Jahil quiet down. Zelario then reminded Felway that, in his true form, Feldway's aura could be too damaging for those unaccustomed to it. Then the discussion returned to the main topic. Felway stated that their current strategic goals could be simplified into 3 objectives. First, to seize the Lord of Hope from the hero Chloe. Second, to eliminate the threat posed by Masayuki. And since Masayuki had displayed the Lord of Oath, they might be able to capture that ability as well. Third, to acquire the dragon factor of Storm Dragon Veldora. The purpose of collecting the 7 virtues was because Michael believed that by gathering the angelic ultimate skills, 7 virtues, they could fulfill the wish of resurrecting the omniscient and omnipotent Star King Dragon Veldanava. However, Felway disagreed with this notion, as he believed that Veldanava was not truly omniscient and omnipotent. Veldanava himself had said that he had given up his omniscience and omnipotence. Felway wished that this had been a lie, as then Veldanava wouldn't have been killed by humans. But it was Veldanava who bestowed desires upon humanity, thus creating a cycle of cause and effect. From Feldway's perspective, he believed that finding all of Veldanava-sama's ultimate skills was of little value unless they had a suitable vessel. Initially, Felway and Michael had planned to use the body of the first hero, Rudra, to manifest Veldanava. However, with Michael's death, Rudra's body was lost. In this situation, even killing Masayuki no longer held the same significance. Although Feldway was displeased about losing to Masayuki, he understood that victory sometimes depended on luck and shouldn't disrupt the overall plan. Since Masayuki had gained the true hero Rudra's power, eliminating him would be a heavy burden for Zelario and the others. Additionally, Velbrind was on Masayuki's side, and inadequate forces would only lead to a crushing defeat. Only Felway, Velzard, or Zelanus could pose a threat to Masayuki, but even then, it wouldn't be so meaningful. Therefore, the only viable option now was to acquire Veldora's dragon factor, but it had to be done without detection. Feldway then proposed a new plan, and the group moved to action, leaving the meeting room. Felway was certain that the key to this battle lay with Velzard. He could sense that Velzard's love was genuine, and as long as that was true, the outcome wouldn't change. Confident in this belief, Feldway wore a cold smile on his face. Alright, that's all for this video. The power displayed by Velzard is truly astounding. As the oldest existing true dragon, her strength is completely overwhelming. Velzard's intention was undoubtedly to trouble Guy, but causing Milim to go berserk to prove Guy's love for her was a highly unwise decision. However, it's important to note that Velzard has not killed anyone. So far, the detailed reasoning behind Velzard's actions has not been further explained, which would probably be one of the highlights of the upcoming Volume 22 of the novel. Previously, some friends asked what Rimuru was doing while Milim was struggling. Well, Jahil's high-profile attack on Luminous, in defiance of Feldway's plan, led Rimuru to choose to support Luminous instead of Milim. After all, common sense suggested that a battlefield with the strongest presence like Milim wouldn't experience significant setbacks. However, the threat posed by Jahil to Luminous and others was very real, so Rimuru decided to assist Luminous. In actuality, Luminous managed to fend off Jahil even without Rimuru's presence. We know that Luminous' strength is very close to Benimaru's, so how did Luminous manage to resist Jahil's attack? In our next episode, we will discuss the situation on Luminous' side. Luminous, as the proud creation of Twilight Valentine, naturally inherited Twilight's passion for research. In this respect, Jahil and Sylvia share the same traits. They are not only powerful figures in this world but also magical scientists. Luminous has surprisingly developed magic similar to the principles of Castle Guard, which was completely unexpected. We will explain this in detail in the next episode. The next episode will be equally exciting. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. Your support is greatly appreciated. See you in the next one.